Welcome to Wisdom Trek with Gramps. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, and we are on day 2907 of our trek. The purpose of Wisdom Trek is to create a legacy of wisdom, to seek out discernment and insights, and to boldly grow where few have chosen to grow before. The title for today's Wisdom Trek is The Cosmic Warrior's Sanctuary, Bowing the Heavens to Rescue Frail Mortals. On our previous expedition, on day 2905, we bore witness to David's heavy, cumulative exhaustion in Psalm 143. We stood alongside him in the dark, feeling the suffocating, numbing weight of a long, drawn-out wilderness campaign, as he pleaded for the morning light of God's unfailing love to rescue his failing spirit. Today, as we crest a magnificent new ridge along our multi-month journey through the Psalter, we advance directly into Psalm 144, verses 1 through 8. This text serves as an incredibly powerful, triumphant answer to the dark paralysis we analyzed in our last study. David is no longer sitting frozen in the dust, wondering if the darkness will permanently consume him. Instead, he bursts forth with a magnificent, high-energy anthem of praise, recognizing that the very hardships he endured were the training grounds for his ultimate destiny. As we explore these 8 verses together, we will discover a dynamic mosaic of royal warfare, cosmic geography, and profound theological humility, viewing this entire battlefield through the brilliant, ancient worldview of Yahweh's sovereign heavenly host. The first segment is The Divine Arsenal, Training for the Frontiers of Chaos. Let us open our minds to the opening movements of this royal liturgy, as recorded in the New Living Translation, grouping together the deeply connected, contiguous thoughts found in verse 1 and verse 2. Praise the Lord, who is my rock. He trains my hands for war and gives my fingers skill for battle. He is my loving ally and my fortress, my tower of safety, my rescuer. He is my shield, and I take refuge in him. He subdues the nations under me. David begins this segment with an unshakable, rhythmic blast of absolute adoration, declaring, Praise the Lord, who is my rock. He trains my hands for war and gives my fingers skill for battle. He is my loving ally and my fortress, my tower of safety, my rescuer. He is my shield, and I take refuge in him. He subdues the nations under me. To fully appreciate the vast panoramic scope of these opening lines, we must view David's military reality through the fascinating, complex lens of the ancient Israelite divine council worldview. In the ancient Near East, kingship was never viewed as a purely secular administrative function. The king of Israel was understood to be the earthly representative, the unique viceroy of Yahweh himself. When David addresses God as Yahweh Sabaoth, the Lord of Heaven's armies, he is recognizing that his earthly battles are intimately intertwined with a grand, unseen cosmic conflict. The hostile surrounding nations were not just political competitors. They were groups aligned with rebellious, territorial, spiritual principalities who actively sought to subvert the cosmic order established by the Most High God. Notice that David does not boast in his own inherent athletic prowess or his natural military genius, even though he was a legendary warrior who defeated giants. Instead, he attributes all of his kinetic capability to his Creator, shouting, He trains my hands for war and gives my fingers skill for battle. Yahweh is depicted here as the master commander, personally mentoring his earthly king, tuning his reflexes, and sharpening his tactical focus so that he can effectively push back the frontiers of chaos. David then layers title upon glorious title, describing God as his rock, his loving ally, his fortress, his tower of safety, his rescuer, and his shield. In the ancient world, a tower of safety or a fortress on a high crag was completely unassailable by infantry. By running into the character of Yahweh, David enters a fortress that sits completely above the reach of both earthly weapons and dark cosmic forces. It is from this secure, celestial vantage point that the true King of the universe executes judgment, subduing rebellious human assemblies under the feet of his anointed servant. The second segment is the radical contrast, cosmic majesty, and fleeting shadows. Right in the middle of this high-stakes military declaration, David pauses to display a stunning level of philosophical and theological humility, combining the logical thoughts found in verse 3 and verse 4. O Lord, what are human beings that you should notice them? Mere mortals that you should think about them? For we are like a breath of air. Our days are like a passing shadow. David pivots his gaze away from the grand geopolitics of his kingdom to look directly into the mirror of human fragility, asking, O Lord, what are human beings that you should notice them? Mere mortals that you should think about them? For we are like a breath of air. Our days are like a passing shadow. This exquisite, highly poetic exclamation directly echoes the haunting cosmic questions raised in Psalm 8. As a king who sat in council with the elders and who regularly contemplated the vast tapestry of the night sky, David was acutely aware of the mind-boggling scale of reality. In the ancient cosmic geography, above the physical dome of the sky rested the glorious, burning palace of the divine council, populated by majestic, immortal, spiritual beings who had witnessed the very foundations of the earth being laid. In comparison to these enduring celestial hosts, and in comparison to the eternal, uncreated majesty of Yahweh, what is a human being? David uses two incredibly vivid Hebrew metaphors to describe our mortal condition. Hevel, which translates to a mere breath of warm air, a vapor that appears for a microsecond in the winter cold and then vanishes completely, and a passing shadow, like the silhouette of a bird flying over a field, gone before the eye can even track its movement. Yet, the profound mystery of biblical wisdom lies right here in this juxtaposition. The transcendent sovereign Lord of the cosmos, who rules over billions of stars and commands legions of heavenly messengers, actively chooses to step down into history to notice, think about, and harbor deep affection for these fragile, breathing dust creatures. He doesn't just tolerate humanity. He partners with mortals, inviting them to participate in the restoration of his cosmic order. The third segment is Cosmic Theophany, splitting the fabric of the sky. Having established both the supreme majesty of God and the radical dependence of man, David now launches into a dramatic, high-impact prayer for an immediate supernatural intervention, weaving together the cosmic warfare motifs found in verse 5 and verse 6. Open the heavens and come down, Lord. Touch the mountains so they bellow smoke. Flash your lightning and scatter your enemies. Shoot your arrows and confuse them. David calls down the ultimate cosmic cavalry, crying out with immense urgency, Open the heavens and come down, Lord. Touch the mountains so they bellow smoke. Flash your lightning and scatter your enemies. Shoot your arrows and confuse them. This section contains some of the most concentrated, highly dramatic theophany imagery in the entire Old Testament. When David prays, Open the heavens and come down, the original language literally means to bow or to bend the heavens. In the ancient mindset, the sky was seen as a solid, physical separation between the celestial realm of God's throne room and the terrestrial realm of human history. David is asking Yahweh to grab the fabric of the cosmos, bend it downward, and rip open the boundary line, invading earthly geography with the raw, unfiltered glory of his heavenly presence. When the Most High steps down, the physical geography of the earth cannot sustain his weight. He touches the mountains which in the ancient Near Eastern worldview were considered the pillars of the earth, the cosmic boundary stones where the gods met and they instantly erupt, billowing smoke like volatile volcanoes, completely unmasked as fragile structures before their creator. David then describes the weapons of this cosmic combat, lightning bolts functioning as divine spears, flashing across the dark sky to scatter the entrenched armies of the wicked, while supernatural arrows of thunder confuse and disorient the adversaries. This is classic ancient Near Eastern imagery used to depict the ultimate storm warrior, but David is stripping this language away from pagan deities like Baal or Hadad and applying it exclusively to Yahweh. He is asserting that the true, singular Lord of the cosmos is the one who wields the elements of nature to demolish the arrogant structures of human and spiritual rebellion. The fourth segment is Deliverance from the Floods of Deception. The narrative of David's dramatic plea reaches its grand resolution as he defines the exact nature of the peril he is facing, linking his contiguous thoughts together in verse 7 and verse 8. Reach down from heaven and rescue me. Deliver me from deep waters, from the power of my enemies. Their mouths are full of lies. They swear to tell the truth, but they lie instead. The psalmist concludes this powerful opening movement of his prayer by pointing directly to the source of his crisis, begging, Reach down from heaven and rescue me. Deliver me from deep waters, from the power of my enemies. Their mouths are full of lies. They swear to tell the truth, but they lie instead. Notice how David conceptualizes his enemies. He calls them deep waters. In the ancient Israelite consciousness, deep, roaring waters, often referred to as Tehom, represented the primal, chaotic forces of cosmic destruction. Water was chaotic, unmanageable, and deadly. It was the element that threatened to swallow up the ordered world. By describing his human adversaries as deep waters, David is revealing that their geopolitical rebellion is an earthly manifestation of cosmic chaos. But look carefully at the primary weapon these chaotic foreign enemies use to launch their assault. It is not their physical chariots or their iron spears. It is their speech. David laments, "Their mouths are full of lies. They swear to tell the truth, but they lie instead." This insight links us right back to the structural themes we encountered in Psalms 140, 141, and 142. The trademark characteristic of forces aligned with the original, deceptive serpent is the weaponization of deceit, falsehood, and perjury. They use diplomacy as a trap. They raise their right hands to take holy oaths of alliance, but their words are a smokescreen designed to hide their treacherous intent. Faced with a flood of systemic gaslighting and political deception, David knows that human intelligence is simply not enough to survive. He needs the physical, outstretched arm of the sovereign king to reach down from the heavenly throne room, pull him out of the rushing torrents of falsehood, and plant his feet securely on the rock of absolute, unchanging truth. As we bring today's trek to a close, let us remember that the same cosmic warrior who bowed the heavens for David is the one who meticulously trains our fingers for the spiritual battles of our daily lives. When the floods of cultural deception and personal hardship rise around your ankles, don't look at the depth of the water. Look up at the one who commands the lightning and rest in the beautiful reality that your frail, fleeting life is deeply noticed, deeply loved, and perfectly guarded by the King of Kings. If you found this podcast insightful, please subscribe and leave us a review. Then encourage your friends and family to join us and come along tomorrow for another day of Wisdom Trek, creating a legacy. As we take this trek of life together, let us always live abundantly, love unconditionally, listen intentionally, learn continuously, lend to others generously, lead with integrity, leave a living legacy each day. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, reminding you to keep moving forward, enjoy your journey, and create a great day every day. Join me next time for more Daily Wisdom.